Hey, senior superstars, if you haven't read this story yet, come and read it with me. This story is called Who Do We Look Like? It goes along with a couple of worksheets that I'll show you now, and today we're going to be doing this one. You also have this worksheet and this worksheet that go with this same story. So follow along with me and let's read the story and answer the questions from the first worksheet. Here's the title. The title on a story is usually on what we call the front cover or the title page. And it's usually really, really big. So here's our title. Who Do We Look Like? By Claire Rep. Illustrated by Todd Gardner. Now, even though it doesn't say written by Claire Rep, it's implied that Claire Rep is the author because it says by Claire Rep. Down here, it says illustrated by Todd Gardner. Remember, the author writes the words and the illustrator draws the pictures. Let's read. Page 1. Ooh, that's my favorite animal. I have skin that is gray and wrinkled. I have big ears. I have a long trunk. Who do I look like? That's a baby animal. I look like my mother. My mother is an elephant. I am a baby elephant. Oh, the baby elephant looks like the mother elephant. What is that? Do you guys know what animal this is? I have thick fur. I have big teeth for cutting trees. I have a wide, flat tail. Who do I look like? I look like my father. My father is a beaver. I am a baby beaver. Oh, look at that. I have a long neck. I have long legs. I have a long tongue that I use to grab leaves. Who do I look like? Oh, so this is a baby animal. I wonder who it looks like. I look like my mother. My mother is a giraffe. I am a baby giraffe. So the baby looks like its mother. I have black and white feathers that look like a tux. I have flippers instead of wings. I have a beak for catching fish. Who do I look like? I look like my father. My father is a penguin. I am a baby penguin. It looks like its father. I have strong back legs for jumping. I have big back feet and a big tail. I sleep in a pouch. Who do I look like? What do you think? Who does this baby look like? I look like my mother. My mother is a kangaroo. I am a baby kangaroo. We are baby animals. We look like our parents. The end. I just love stories about animals. They make me happy. I hope you like them too. So now we are going to be doing our questions. This is another chart. We've been working with charts this year, T-charts and all sorts of different charts to organize our thoughts and information about stories. Here it says title and a picture of a book. And it says, what is the title of this story? Well, where do we find the title of a story? In the middle of the book or on the first page? That's right, we find the title on the first page of the story. So let's go all the way back to find the answer. What is the title of this story? Here it is. Who do we look like? Pause the video and copy down the title in that first box. Who do we look like? Pause the video. Okay, our next question is author. Who is the author of this story? Where do we find the author's name? And let's do both of these questions at the same time. Here's the illustrator. Who is the illustrator of this story? Where do we find the names of the author and the illustrator? On the front of the book. So you're going to answer both of these questions by looking at the front of the book. Let's take a look. Who do we look like? That's the title, it's not the author. By Claire Rep. Illustrated by Todd Gardner. Do you see the author's name and the illustrator's name? Yep, right here. Claire Rep is our author, and Todd Gardner is our illustrator. Pause the video and take your time copying down their names. You do not need to write by. You do not need to write illustrated by. Just write their names in the appropriate boxes. Pause this video and take your time copying the names. Okay, so you should have the title, the author, and the illustrator written down. If you have not filled out those three yet, go back and do that, please. Now we're going to write about our characters. Who are the characters in the story? Describe a character. Well, what's a character? The picture shows a little person with a star, or two people with a star around it. That means like the star of the show, the most important people or animals, in our case, in the story. So, I want you to pick one animal or one character from the story. So, for example, you may write kangaroo, or you can even write baby kangaroo to be more descriptive. And then it also says describe the character. So I want you to tell me something about the character. So if I'm going to write about the kangaroo, I need to put something about the kangaroo in that box too. You could say, the kangaroo sleeps in a pouch. So write a detail about your character in that box. And if you need extra room, you could also, just write it on an extra sheet of paper or try to write small. You could fit it if you write small. All right, now for setting. Now let's look at the picture under setting so we can figure out what that word means. I see a map, I see a clock, and I see a calendar. Do you know what the setting of a story is? Here's the question. Where does the story happen? Describe the place. Oh, where does the story happen? So setting means the place or time that the story took place. So One way to find out about the setting of the story is to look at our pictures. So let's go back and look at one of the pictures in the story so we can try to answer, where does the story happen? Describe the place. I'm going to look at the kangaroo picture. I see grass. I see trees. I see some mountains in the back. I see the sky. Where could this possibly be? Do we see these things inside or outside? Yeah, so this story takes place outside. And maybe it takes place in a few different places because it looks like the penguins are in a cold place with all the snow and ice and cold water. But the kangaroos might be in a warmer place because there's a lot of grass growing and green trees. So, since it takes place in a few different outdoor environments, we could say that the setting is outside. Okay? So, the question says, where does the story happen? And we can put outside here. I'll try to write it with the computer, but it might not look great. Let's see what we can do here. Outside. O U T S I D E. Outside. Not bad for writing with my mouse. Okay, the next one is events. And you can see a picture of a calendar. Events. The question is, what happened in this story? So I want you to tell me what happened in this story. So write your answer in that box. Pause the video if you need to. Narrator. Look, there's the person with the book and a microphone, and it looks like they're talking. So the narrator is the person who is telling the story. The question says, who is talking in this story? Is it the author or is it a character? Now, when the author is speaking, usually it will use pronouns such as they or he or she or them. But if it's a character talking, they usually use the pronoun I. So if we see they, her, she, their, them, it's the author talking. But if we see I, it's the character talking. So let's go and take a look at which pronouns we see. I look like my mother. Oh, we already see a pronoun I. So if we see I, does that mean that the author is talking or a character is talking? Circle your answer. All right, make sure you take a picture of your work. Have a great day, Saner Superstars.